The man whose military feats were stolen and who was defamed by the heroes of history prepares to seek revenge. In the year 3972 AD, in the Forest of Death, a man is wounded by a sword. One of the attackers mocks him, saying that if someone as weak as Glenn could injure the Empire's best warrior, it must mean the Empire is doomed. To prevent Wishtek, the Dark Country, from invading their borders, the Empire granted 14 heroes sacred spears and sent them on a mission. The wounded man questions his attackers about why they hurt him if they were comrades. One of them mentions they did well for being just 4, as they managed to complete the sealing mission. 3 of the heroes fell in battle. One of the attackers says they will take credit for the mission and prepares to deliver the final blow. Thus began the era of prosperity, with 7 heroes defeating the Empire's 4 traitors. 20 years later, in Real Deum, a city with a gloomy atmosphere emerges. A caravan approaches the city, and inside one of the wagons, a little girl hides, eager to reach the port and travel to the peaceful land of the 7 heroes. Rasheb, the leader of the warrior monks, addresses the people in the square and, feigning sorrow, announces another execution of stowaways. The prisoners plead for mercy, but it's futile. Rasheb is determined to carry out the mission entrusted to him by Landgrave Stemolek protecting the border. The prisoners are executed. Rasheb reminds everyone that this ordeal is unnecessary and that those seeking a travel pass simply need to request it from his monastery. On a rooftop, a one-eyed man watches the scene. A soldier captures the girl from the wagon, and Rasheb moves to assess the situation. The girl insists it was a mistake and that she boarded the wrong wagon. Rasheb decides to execute her immediately to avoid having to clean up twice. She screams and begs for mercy, but a young boy recognizes her and says he has been waiting for her. He frees her and takes her away. Rasheb demands the boy's identity, and he claims to be Pipi's brother, despite their lack of resemblance, explaining that they have different mothers. Rasheb remains unconvinced and now wants to execute them both. The boy prepares to fight, but the one-eyed man intervenes, saying he has been looking for them. Rasheb demands to know who he is. The man apologizes for the trouble and offers Rasheb gold coins as compensation. Rasheb gladly accepts and lets them go. The girl thanks them for saving her, but the boy scolds her for ruining his stowaway plans. The girl reminds him that the one-eyed man also saved him and rebukes him for calling her Pipi. The one-eyed man warns them that half-baked plans will never work, explaining he only saved them to prevent complications in his long-planned operation with a smuggler. He refers to the boy as Little Hero, a term for children who aspire to be like the 7 heroes, a notion the boy finds distasteful. As the man tries to leave, the children stop him, asking about the smuggler. He says he will only help if they have a valid reason to cross. The girl says tea here is nothing left for her on this side. The boy hears 13 soldiers approaching and tosses the girl into the canal. The soldiers surround them, demanding proof of virtue. The boy doesn't understand until the one-eyed man explains it means a bribe. The monastery controls border traffic, issuing travel passes based on one's virtue, which is really just a donation size. The monks attack, intent on seizing everything they have. The boy draws his sword and effortlessly destroys one monk, astonishing the one-eyed man. The man briefly wonders if this is the person he's heard about, but realizes that someone so powerful would have been harder to approach. The boy defeats the remaining monks with ease, disposing of the evidence in the canal. The one-eyed man asks who he is, and the boy reminds him he's the Little Hero. The man requests his help and asks to join him. Pipi emerges from the water, scolding the boy for tossing her in. He insists it saved her life and declares they will now accompany the one-eyed man as they made a deal. The man introduces himself as Weed. The boy reveals his name is Coinzel. The girl tries to introduce herself, but they tell her tea here is no time and stick with calling her Pipi. The trio heads to the ruins of the underground city, now home to vagrants. Weed takes them to a tavern, where he meets his contact, who agrees to help after being generously paid for the transport. But Weed asks for a discount, which greatly annoys his partner, who reminds him that security measures are becoming increasingly strict. Weed calms her down, explaining that he spent a lot to save them. She agrees to help because she senses something special about them. Weed fetches Coinzel and brings him to Altea, the leader of the smugglers, who offers a deal for passage, though Coinzel seems displeased. Altea explains that if they miss the ship departing the next day, he won't have the chance to meet the 7 heroes. This piques Coinzel's interest, and he asks what she means. Altea reveals that to suppress the chaos of the civil war, the heroes will camp for 2 days near the border, at the 1,000 stone lances. Coinzel is stunned to hear the heroes are so close. Meanwhile, Rasheb prepares his monks outside the underground city, aware they are dealing with the city's scum. He orders a rat hunt. A man informs Altea that the warrior monks have arrived. Rasheb enters the tavern. announcing that reports of smugglers in the area have prompted an inspection. He demands to speak with the person in charge. Althea claims she has an honest establishment and rejects the accusation of smuggling. A small man steps forward from the monks and confesses that he was offered help to cross. Upon this declaration, Rasheb immediately orders his execution, which a monk carries out on the spot. He then commands the execution of everyone in the tavern. The monks attack. Weed defends himself, but Rasheb captures Pipi, telling her she fell into their hands again despite being given a second chance, and this time she will serve as an example. Weed tries to break through to her, but there are too many monks. At that moment, Coinzel cuts down a chandelier, crushing several monks beneath it. Rasheb falls and releases Pipi. Coinzel defeats many monks, but several remain. Rasheb recognizes him, stating that opposing them means facing one of the 7 heroes, Landgrave Stemwolech. Coinzel replies that this was his intent, eliminating a monk with a single move. He checks on Pipi, and Althea informs him that she merely lost consciousness from the fall. Furious, Coinzel searches for the culprit, but Rasheb is already fleeing. Rasheb runs until he is alone, realizing Coinzel's immense strength. He knows that if the monastery learns a mere boy defeated so many monks, his position as leader will be in jeopardy. Thus, he declares martial law. Weed's group prepares to continue their escape plan. Coinzel is determined to seize this chance to encounter the 7 heroes. Althea warns that martial law has made security even stricter, but they are confident they can overcome it. With no other choice, Althea reveals a secret path unknown to the monastery and promises to get them aboard the ship. Rasheb is convinced no rats will escape now and summons Rangzatz to ensure their capture. Rangzatz warns that his services are expensive, but Rasheb believes the price is worth it to eliminate his enemies. Althea leads the group through an underground tunnel. Coinzel struggles as he dislikes being in places without a view of the sky. Althea explains she discovered this path years ago after a cave-in, and it seems to have been used as a base by sorcerers. They are attacked by strange humanoids, but Althea swiftly eliminates them with her sword, surprising Coinzel. They near the underground warehouse by the port, where the ship awaits. Upon reaching the atrium, they encounter a grotesque monster. Althea freezes upon recognizing it. The monster attacks, and though they evade the initial blow, it leaves Althea visibly shaken. Coinzel scales the monster's arm, striking with his sword, but to no effect. The creature seizes him and slams him against the ceiling, creating a large hole and knocking him unconscious. Althea becomes increasingly fearful, haunted by trauma linked to the monster. Weed tries to calm her while spotting the ship through the ceiling hole. Pipi finally awakens, realizing the danger. Weed urges Althea to pull herself together and lead them to the ship, but she insists it's impossible due to the brief docking period under martial law. Convinced they will all perish, Althea despairs as the monster attacks again. Weed hurls a circular blade at its face, forcing it to retreat. He tells Althea he misjudged her, thinking she was strong and determined. If she wishes to surrender, so be it, but he will fight to the end. Wide throws his blade again, tangling the monster's leg and causing it to fall. The creature rises and renews its attack. Weed carries Pipi to safety, striking the creature's previous wound and creating a crack. The monster grabs Weed and throws him against a wall. He drops Pipi, who falls from a great height, but is caught by Althea. Wide hits the ground, gravely injured, realizing they are about to miss the ship. Suddenly, he sees a glow. The monster prepares to devour Althea and Pipi when Coinzel appears atop its head, thanking it for showing him the moon. Coinzel now looks stronger and more confident. The monster attempts to crush him, but Coinzel swiftly dodges and slices the beast in half. The group prepares to continue, but an explosion destroys the monster's remains. Above them stands Rasheb, accompanied by Rangzatz wielding a dark sword. If you've made it this far into the video, don't forget to write the word exquisito in the comment section. Thank you so much, and see you in the next video.